Okay, folks, I'm joined today with my client Mike, and Mike was kind enough to come on and share his experience in the program to date. He's come in and he's been in the program for a little over 8 weeks. He's gotten some really, really fantastic results, and I wanted him to share his experience to date. So, Mike, thanks for taking time. I know you told me before you're very busy this week, so I appreciate you jumping on.
Well, thank you for having me. This is an exciting program and has really made some major changes in my life. So I'm happy to share it with you, but also with other people that may be thinking about joining us, or or on the fence, or already in it. So
Great, mate. Why don't you share a bit about yourself, like where you're based, how old you are, what your kind of day-to-day life is like, so people can get an idea of your situation.
okay, so currently, and for the last 20 years, I've been a real estate broker, and I'm located in a small seaside town called Provincetown, and it's in Massachusetts in the United States. So, what does my day to day look like? I'm a pretty active person besides my job, which takes me in and out of houses, up and down stairs. And that's kind of critical to some of the things we'll talk about later. But I'm walking an awful lot and moving an awful lot. Um, I also ride horses. I'm a dressage rider. I also ride a motorcycle. So I do lots of things that call for my body to move and be very move, but more specifically to be mobile and strong and flexible. Um, I work out 4 to 5 times a week because I enjoy it. Um, so that's a little bit about me. Oh, and
Yeah,
also I'm 68. I'm sorry, I didn't mention, or will be 68 in August.
right. Awesome, mate. Do you want to share where you were, let's say 12 weeks ago, like when you were kind of looking for some sort of a change? Like, why did you look into joining the program?
So I joined the program because I had tried other things that did not work. And honestly, I worked with other trainers online, other programs, and these people were really good. And their programs were really good. However, they didn't address where I was, and this program addressed where I was and slowly helped me to build. And so kind of it was a starting from the ground level again and working slowly to where I am now. So where was I about 10 or 12 weeks ago? I had hurt my knee back in October, but my knee had given me a problem probably for about a year or so before that. There was probably a sprain in the meniscus, and then I had arthritis in that knee. Um, so walking became a challenge. So just doing my job, going up and down stairs, became a challenge. I did it, but every time I had to go down a set of stairs, not as much going up. I dreaded it, but you do it because that's what I do. Um, my shoulder is an older injury where I fell into they call it circular cellars. So I fell through a trap about 5 feet and landed on my left shoulder. Also, I had a horse take off on me while I was on the ground, and he was on what we call a lunge line, and that further damaged it. So there was probably a little bit of a tear, but also more arthritis. So that's what I was dealing with. I was also dealing with, this is kind of coming from a different place. Lots of people saying, Mike, you're 67. This is the way it's going to be. Maybe you need to get your knee replaced. Maybe your shoulder needs to be replaced. You just need to slow down. And I just felt like, Connor, I had more gas in the tank. And I feel like, one, if I needed to have my knee replaced or something done, I wanted to make sure that my leg was strong enough so that I can rehab it well. And the same with my shoulder. But I certainly didn't want to give up because of a number. I of in my age. I mean, I just feel like there is. I wanted. You can't stop the aging clock, but I can certainly think of myself as getting healthier and better. And that's what I did. And that's what your program has allowed me to do. So
Yeah, that's
that's a
so,
little long winded, but I think you know where I'm going.
yeah, no, not at all. I think you shared a really important point there. Well, two important points about sometimes a program can be really good, but it starts people at a much higher level than maybe where they're at.
Hmm.
And then you can it could be the best program in the world, but it's affecting you or it's hurting, a knee or a shoulder problem because they need to be rehabbed to get to that level. But then the big thing you said is just that narrative around you, like maybe, maybe don't even try, like maybe just get
Yeah.
surgery, maybe just
Hmm.
stop. And I think
Right.
that's such a important thing to really like. I want you to talk more about this actually, because a lot of the times the next step is surgery without trying anything like that. Just get surgery.
Hmm. Um, I also want to say something else about the programs that I had tried. What would happen is I would start at a decent basic level, and then you work your way up, and probably I jumped too quickly, and then I would re-injure myself. Um, or I'd start to focus on, gee, I need to grow um, my legs more, or I need to grow my pecs more. And so then I started pushing that when I really didn't have the physical ability to do that at that point, just because I was injured. So then I re injure myself, and then I'm not able to work out as much. And then you get aggravated that you can't work out as much. And so it became a vicious cycle. But yeah, people tend to just say, you hit a certain number and, you know, you're not going to get off the ground without holding yourself up. You're not going to um, be able to ride a horse anymore. You're not going to be able to ride your motorcycle anymore. And I just was not ready to give those things up. And I didn't see any reason why I should have to.
Yeah, I love that. And yeah, you can see it as well. Like when I was living in Southeast Asia, there's people in their 70s, 80s, squatting, sitting on the
Yeah.
ground, perfect mobility because just kept doing it forever. It
Yes.
was just a practice, right? Um, so yeah, I'm
By
really
the way,
happy
you
you,
got
you
me
shared
sitting
that.
on the ground cross-legged now when I eat
That's
dinner.
great.
So it's so and my partner husband also does the same now. He's
That's
like,
so
wow,
funny.
this hurts. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, because we're not only cross-legged, but we're putting one leg on top of the other, which
Amazing.
really puts the pressure on the hip. But all of a sudden, after a couple of minutes,
Yeah.
the hips start to relax. I don't know if that's what happened when you were doing it 10 hours a day, but um yeah, so there's lots of impacts here. So
Yeah, that's so good, mate. And I think it's just a good point to kind of hammer home. Like you get good at what you practice. Yeah, and we practice sitting for long periods of time in Western countries. So we're not very good at opening our hips because we never go into those positions. So that
right.
makes me very happy that you're eating your meals on the floor. So let's jump into some breakthroughs. So yeah, maybe do you want to talk about something that maybe happened at a certain point into the program where you could feel like maybe this was different to previous things you tried?
Yeah, I also want to mention to people that have given this some thought is I was concerned about getting involved in this because the amount of time for workouts that I was thinking I was going to be required to do. Um, and other things in the program, like journaling and monitoring what I eat. Um, and the program is designed by you, obviously, to look at our lifestyle, the way that I live my life, and integrate the program into that, as opposed to myself integrating into your program. You've made changes to make it easier for me. Um, And so, yeah, I get up, I work out from 6:45 to 7:45. Before that, I make sure I figure out what am I going to do for the day. So, which kind of gives me back charge of my day. Um, and, that's important because I work in a job like many of us do that's client oriented. And the clients kind of hold your calendar in their hand. And so you just take back where you can and manage your day from that standpoint. So this has been very helpful. But I was skeptical because of the amount of time, and um, I found that it's actually been beneficial to me, and I was able to manage through it. And again, it's because of your customization.
Great, mate. Anything
So,
else that you were maybe skeptical about,
oh,
or
I was
like
skeptical
isn't
on
that?
whether I could do it. I was skeptical, as you know, that first week there were a few moves that, you had me do, a few exercises that because of my knee or my shoulders, I was nowhere near ready to do those. And you and your team quickly made changes into the program to allow me to start at a more basic level and build up the strength to get to where the exercise was requiring me to use. Um, So that was it. I just didn't know if I could do it. I didn't know if I can do, um, taking a dowel and bringing it behind my shoulders. That was just something I couldn't even fathom doing. And now I've not only gotten to over my head, I've gotten to behind my back. So those are huge wins. But again, it's because you have said, Mike, you don't have to do it all at once. Let's get your strength built up and your confidence built up in these, and then move to the next level. So,
Yeah, I love it, mate. Um, yeah, let's talk about breakthroughs. What was
yeah,
maybe the
sure.
first thing that really started clicking? You're like, oh wow, this is really starting to work.
Yeah. So, we were planning a vacation, and we primarily do a lot of walking on our vacation. And we I started walking more in my little town. I also and I did it in a certain way that I started taking just genuine, regular walks, but also I'd park further away from my office. I'd park further away from the grocery store. Um, Wherever I can get an extra step, I would, because I promised myself if my knee started to feel better, I was going to walk as much as I can. So we went on vacation, and let's say that while I was here and injured because I wasn't able to get around, I was doing maybe 2,500 steps with a lot of discomfort. So fast forward about 10 weeks after I started the program, David and I went on vacation, and we were walking 10 to 20,000 steps a day. And that was huge. Now, I'm not going to say I didn't acknowledge some pain at times. Sometimes I felt it in my foot. Sometimes I felt it in my knee because I was also walking on cobblestones. But I
Do you want
had
to share where you
no.
were for people?
Oh, yeah. We were
Yeah.
in Prague, which, you know, the city of Prague is cobblestone in all the historic area, both streets and sidewalks, because so you couldn't even bounce from one to the other. Um, and then we were also in Budapest and did a significant amount of walking there. Again, there were days where it was 17,000, 20,000 steps. Um, Gave myself a break when we needed to give ourselves a break. And then we went to Vienna, which we had been to before, and walked there. And again, I just had no. I was so surprised that I was able to do that. Again, there was absolute. There were times where I was uncomfortable. So I stopped for a few minutes, maybe I stretched a little bit, and then I started again.
Yeah,
So
mate.
that was a huge win.
Huge. Yeah. And like as you were saying, you were doing you because walking, well, maybe you can share this. Like it was something you like to do as a couple, but you kind of stopped doing it because of pain, right?
Yeah, I mean, and David is an ex swimmer, so he's got very strong legs, and but he'll slow down and he understands what's going on. But I trying to keep up as well, and so that kind of it didn't negatively impact our relationship, but it would have been nice if I could participate more together. So this allowed me to do that.
Yeah, it was so nice when you sent me that message. I think it was from Budapest, saying
Uh
like, yeah, I'm walking everywhere.
huh.
So it was
Exactly.
great.
So,
Amazing, mate. So
um,
yeah, steps improved, walking further. What else? What were other things that
so
you
from
felt?
a vanity standpoint, I just feel like my body is getting stronger. Um, I have not lost a lot of weight. I probably need to drop if I want 5 or 6 pounds, and I'm not seeing the scales move more than a pound or so, but I can tell in my clothes that they fit better. My trousers feel fit better, my shirts feel fit better.
Amazing.
Um, and
You
my
were
legs are just much stronger. I'm sorry. Go
that
ahead.
that's what I was going to go to next. Yeah.
Uh, my legs feel stronger. On my shoulder, there are certain moves that I can do now where I'm putting more support, um, where I'm asking my shoulders to support my body more. That I am that they're just stronger. They don't hurt as much. That's huge.
So we're like, let's call it 2.5 months in. What would
Yeah.
you say? How are these changes impacting your life now?
So it's broadening my life. I feel like um, I'm less limited than I was, and for anyone that has pain or from arthritis or from injuries, sports injuries, all of a sudden I found that my whole body was changing. You're almost crumbling. You're almost rolling up in a ball, right? And now, it's just, I feel much broader. I feel more able to do different things um, than I had. So, I jumped on my motorcycle the other day, and it was the first time this season because the weather has gotten nice, and I realized how much more flexible my body is, which helps riding. And the same thing with when I ride horses. It's just my body is much more flexible. I can tell my hips have dropped more. They're not as uptight, hip flexors. Um, so I feel better. Um, Even at our farm, I park further away from the barn, and it's nice to be able to walk to the barn without the pain.
Yeah,
Right.
that's
So
huge, mate.
yeah. I always
I like,
pushed through pain, but it was becoming more limiting than I had even realized.
yeah. And you can kind of do that for a period, but then it just gets to a point where the pain becomes too much.
Hmm.
Um, I love that, mate. In particular, like I think when you start feeling it just in activities that you're doing, like
Yeah.
going on the motorbike, riding the horse, and you just feel more
Hmm.
limber, freer.
Yes.
I like the terminology as well about feeling broader, like you're
Yes.
more upright and you're not as, rounded or, posturally, you seem to be in a better position as well from that time terminology.
Yeah. And life just feels bigger because you don't mind taking those extra steps to go look at something, or just um, th- there are properties now that I represent that are vertical living, and I have to run up and down the stairs when we're showing them. And now it's just more pleasant to do that. I always did it, but now it's just more pleasant.
Yeah, that's so good, mate. I guess, first of all, who would you recommend the program to? And also, even a more important thing I'd like you to maybe share is someone maybe they're in their 60s, maybe in their 50s, or in their 70s, and they're hearing a lot of that, like, you know, you're older, this is the way things are, there's nothing you can do. Like, what advice would you have to someone who's maybe wanting to do more but is just feeling kind of limited, and they're hearing that this is kind of the way things are?
So I think this is a great program across all age groups. And it is because of a couple of things. One is it gives you more control over your overall life. And because there's such an emphasis on planning your day, planning your week, as opposed to your week or your day being planned by other people. So that's number one. So that's why I feel like it would be a good thing for any age group. Um, for people that have an injury or are having a problem working out, exercising because either there's a strain or they're uncomfortable or what have you, I think that's a good thing here too. Um, because you will take them from where they are at, not where the program is, but where they are at, and help build from there, which is huge. For people that are in my age group, that I guess I want them to understand that life is not over. I know we're people say, well, you're sunsetting, you know, retire, take it easy. You know, there's probably more gas in the tank. Give it a try, and day by day, you will start to feel better. Um, maybe not initially, but after a couple of weeks, you will start feeling better, and you'll feel better about yourself as well. And it opens life up to say, oh, you know, I can go back and do another walking vacation in Budapest and Prague. I don't have to sit on a cruise ship going up and down the Danube and look at things that way. I can actually participate and be in it. And so I feel I've never let age drive who I was or what I do, but my activities were starting to get limited because of some of the injuries. So if somebody has those, if they have an interest in just making their lives more broad and feel better, this is a great program.
Amazing, mate. Very well said at the end there, man. And yeah, it's
Okay.
been such a pleasure just working with you.
Well,
But
the
also,
same.
like, you're just getting started, which is the exciting thing. You know, that's the
Right.
really cool part. So yeah, just really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule, and yeah, excited to see where things are going to go for you going forwards as well.
I want to say one other thing, and I think that this is important and how you customize things. When I went on vacation, I'd like to work out on vacation, and maybe not an hour, but maybe a half an hour, 45 minutes. And so I went back to you and your team and said, I'd like, what can I do um, for 4 or 5 days of the time that I was going to be away? And you and your team put together a program for me, which I wasn't expecting. I was expecting you to say just cherry pick what you want to do, but you put something together for me and to um, to address what my needs were in terms physically and from a time standpoint. So if anybody, some people get nervous about, oh, I don't want to work with somebody remotely. This is, I have worked with trainers one on one for many, many years. This is better or better. This is as good, if not much better, because of the things that you and your folks do. And you keep in touch with us. There's touch points at least a few times a week that if you're kind of starting to head in another direction, it pulls you back in and keeps you focused.
Yeah,
So
I'm really
I just
happy
wanted to,
you. Yeah, I'm happy you shared that last point, mate, because it's it changes the kind of people's opinion about like, oh, I can't, I'm on holiday now, so I'll stop and then I'll, you
Hmm.
know, once I'm back at the gym, then I'll start again. We
Hmm.
really feel that, yeah, a lot of clients say similar things to you. It's like now there's no reason to ever stop because if you can
That's
train
right.
when you're away, then and you can train when you're at home and you can train when you're busy, then you just train all the time because it fits into your routine, right?
That's right. That's what I do at 7 in the morning. So wherever I am, wherever I am.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, amazing.
so
Well, Mike, really appreciate you sharing everything. And yeah, you spoke really well and just shared a really important message for people out there as well. So really appreciate you jumping on today.
well, thank you very much. I appreciate you asking my thoughts and opinions. So you're great to work with, Connor. Thank you.
Amazing.